So good day guys, I hope you're all doing so well. So today we're going to deal with functions, but we're going to start with a linear graph. We've got a parabola, hyperbola and exponential graph. So today we're going to deal with linear graph. So I hope you're going to enjoy this class. Remember, you must like and subscribe if you need more content from this channel guys. Yes, so let's start without wasting any time. The basic function of linear graph is y equal mx plus c. That's the basic function of linear graph. Some write y equal ax plus q, still fine, but the same, everything's the same, the meaning is the same. There's nothing that has changed. Even if you can write y equal ax plus c, ax plus q. Now our m, it is our gradient, the steepness of the graph. Our c, in this case, it is our y-intercept. So perhaps you see that you must find the equation of this graph. You need to know the gradient and our y-intercept of this graph. How do you find our gradient? Remember, gradient is equals to change in y divided by change in x. Perhaps we have a graph here guys. This is our graph and we have 2 points. Let's name them A and point B. Then the coordinates of point A, perhaps let's just say it's x1, corresponding y coordinate y1. Then point B, x2, corresponding y coordinate y2. Then changing y divided by changing x. y1 minus y2 divided by x2 minus x1. Changing y, y2 minus y1. Changing x, x2 minus x1. You are done with the gradient of this graph. And now remember, our gradient determines the direction of the graph, meaning if m is bigger than 0 or if our m is positive, that means our graph is increasing from bottom left to upper right. Then if our m, if our m it is smaller than 0, yes, if our m is smaller than 0, or if our m is negative, that means our graph it is decreasing, basically from top left to bottom right. Our m determines the shape of the graph in this case. Then now let's talk about domain and range. Basically, domain, it is all x values that are real, meaning for basic linear graph function, all x values that are included or all x values that are available or that are real, then you are done. Or you can just put in some space here such that those values should include all negative values that are negative to all those values that are positive. We don't know those values, hence we put in this bracket, this normal bracket. We put them because we do not know where will those numbers end. Even if for arrange all y values that are real, such that those values you don't know them, but they run from negative to positive infinity. Basically, when we have a graph here, say suppose we have a graph here and it's like this. So for domain, meaning all x values in this graph is gonna move in this direction up until positive infinity, meaning our x values are not gonna have an end, meaning are gonna go in infinity. Even if our y values, this graph is going to shift, meaning our y values are going to go from the other side to the other side up until infinity, meaning from this side to the top up until infinity there will be no end for our y values. Hence we say for straight line, all straight line graphs, all our straight line graphs, the domain and range are the same. All x values that are real and all y values that are real, then we're done with the domain and range of this graph. So let's have an example here, guys. What do we have? Y equal -1/2 x plus 2. Then the first question, they will say that draw the graph of y, meaning the graph of this function. Let's draw it, guys. Remember, to save some time, you can draw the box of x and y values where you give yourselves x values and put in y values. It's not a problem, but to save time, let's just find the intercepts of this graph, x and y intercept. Perhaps you have learned about them in your previous grade, I don't know, but you have a y intercept, where the coordinate of y intercept by letting x be 0. Basically, when you want y intercept, meaning when you want coordinates of a point lying on a y-axis, we let x be 0. Meaning where you see x in this function, you put in 0. Y equal -1/2 times 0 plus 2. Then if you use a calculator, you're gonna get +2. Then the coordinates of y-intercept is, what is our x? 0. And what is our y? 2. Then for our x intercept, we let y be 0, meaning we're gonna put our 0 on this side, and so for x. 0 equal -1/2 x plus 2. We transpose it to this side. It's gonna change the sign from positive to negative and get -2, -1/2 x. Then we want to be left with x on one side. We divide both sides by -1/2, -1/2. Then our x, if you put a calculator, or if you punch a calculator, all this, or even if you can use your brain, your mental brain, and so you're gonna use KFC, keep the first, change the sign, flip the second, and it. So the answer is gonna be +4. Yes. Then the coordinates of our x-intercept is 4 and 0. Then they said it must draw the graph. Let's just draw the graph on this side. Draw the graph and show the intercept. Let's just show the intercept. 4 and 0 here, then 0 and 2 perhaps you're gonna be here. Then let's just join those points. Okay, we join those points. I'm not good at drawing, but ngiyazama kaloku guys. So the coordinates is 4 and 0 and 0 and 2. Then you're done with drawing the function, or with drawing the graph of this function. Then dominant range of this function is a straight line. It's always the same. X is the method of real numbers, Y is the method of real numbers. You are done guys. There's nothing major here. Then the last question for linear. So for last question of this linear function, it is g at x equal to ax plus q. Then here's a graph. Then you must say that you must find the equation of this function. Find the equation of this function. Simple now guys. Remember, first thing first, we know that the value of a is our gradient, then q is our intercept. Now I already know what is the value of our intercept. Here's our intercept. This is our intercept, because on this y-axis line, x is equals to 0. Hence, I say that this point here is our y-intercept. Y-intercept. What's the value of q? In this case, it is 6, because q stands for our y-intercept. Finish and clear guys. Yes. Then let's just find out the value of a. The value of a obviously is our gradient. Then gradient is equals to y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Then we come back here. Let's just name our points. Maybe x1, y1, x2, y2. y2, y1, x2, x1. Finish and clear. So we're gonna have 0 minus 6 all over 2 minus 0. Then the final answer is gonna be negative 3. Then already we only have g at x equal negative 3x plus q. Let's find the value of q properly by choosing any point between the two. I can take this one, it's not a problem. I can take this one, it's not a problem also. Let's just take this one. So you're gonna substitute where you see x, you're gonna put in 2, where we see y, you're gonna put in 0 to find the value of q. So for x is gonna put in 2, then for y it's we're gonna put in 0. 0 equal negative 3 by 2 plus q. Then negative 3 is equal to negative 6. Then you're going to transport that negative 6 to the side, it's going to be equal to 6. That's the value of q. Then therefore, the function g at x equal negative 3x plus 6. You are done. Dominant range is still the same. Then I think guys, we are done with straight line. If you have any questions, perhaps you can just hit in the comment section, or you can email me on 2200319219CUT@gmail.com. WhatsApp number 0828666758. Facebook Moafrika Music Hauta. Then you're gonna get everything there. So let's just go to parabola. Let's deal with parabola the next session. Yes, thank you. So guys, let's continue with parabola function. Perhaps you're familiar with parabola, but the basic function, or the basic form or standard form of parabola, it is f at x or y equal a x squared plus q. Then you know, go to the value of a, it determines the shape of the graph. It basically determines when the value of a it is bigger than 0, our graph it is facing upwards, concave up. When the value of a it is bigger than 0. Then when the value of a it is smaller than 0, our graph faces downwards, concave down. when the value of a is negative, or when the value of a it is smaller than 0. Then let's come to q. Q, it is our y-intercept in this case. Q, it is our y-intercept, and it also acts as a turning point when we're given a function in this case, or in this form. It also acts as our turning point. I will show you in just short space of time. So perhaps let me just explain the part of Q, or why do I say equity? It represents a turning point and also a y-intercept. Let me just draw a graph, a particular graph here, guys. Here's our graph, parabolic graph. Perhaps I have a point here, and the value of a is positive. Obviously, the value of a is bigger than 0. Then perhaps the value of q obviously is bigger than 0 now because it's positive, it's facing upwards. Perhaps let me say the value of q equal to 3. Basically, this point here, it is our y-intercept, and our intercept, I we let x be equal to 0. So the coordinates of this point is 0 and positive 3. So this 3 is going to act as our turning point over this graph, because the graph, it takes a shape when it reaches this point, or our graph turns when it reaches this point q. As we see that this graph, or the value of q, represents also the turning point. Then if the value of q in this case the value of q, it is bigger than 0, then if the value of q is smaller than 0, perhaps the value of a now is smaller than 0. That means our graph is going to face downwards. Our graph is going to face downwards, because this point here perhaps it could be 0 and corresponding y coordinate -3. Therefore our turning point is going to be -3. Then our y-intercept also is going to be -3. Do you guys understand? So this is the basic form of parabola you did in grade 10. So now let's come to our form of parabola. So this other form of parabola, y equal a x plus or minus p, and just say minus p, or you just say plus p squared plus q. Then in this case we have a, we have p, and we have q right now. So our function is not the same as that one, but it's parabola, but this one is in different form. We're basically adding p, and get to this one we had only a turning point that moves vertically, that moves up and down. Right here we have a turning point, it can be sideways or upwards or whatsoever. So you have added the value of p here. So turning point of this graph, or of this parabolic graph, you must just point out the value of p and the value of q. What is the value of p and what's the value of q? Then you will know what is your turning point. So in this case, the coordinates of turning point, it's -p and q. Remember, the value of p, when it comes out of the brackets, it changes the sign to negative. If the value of p is negative, let me just say the value of p is negative, then when it comes out of the brackets, it's going to be positive p. So in this case, it's positive, then the value of p is going to be negative when it comes out of the brackets. I hope you understand that part, guys. Yes. So remember, in this case, when you want y-intercept, basics, y-intercept, you let x be 0. Then when you want x-intercept, you let y be 0, then you're gonna find your answers. So now there's another form of quadratic function. This form is of y equal a x squared plus bx plus c. So this is another form of quadratic equation or quadratic function in a form of the quadratic equation. Yes. So to change from this form to this one, you ought to complete the square. I'll just show you in a short space of time how do you complete the square. So I'll just show you how do you complete the square from this form to this one. Now supposedly we have a function y equal x squared plus 6x plus 2. Let me just show you how to complete the square in this case. So you want this equation to be transformed into this equation, or to be in this form. So let's show you right now. So you have this function x squared plus 6x plus 2. Let's just use our there's a formula, or there's a method we use called the trinomial method. In this case, you need to find the factors of x squared, this x and x. Basically, two factors two variables or numbers that you can multiply to give you the first term, or the x squared. It is x and x is going to give you x squared. Then two numbers, when you add them or when you subtract them, perhaps they give you 6. Which are those numbers? When you add them, they give you 6. 3 and 3. Then you're gonna multiply 3 by 3. It's gonna give you 9. Then you come back to this equation. Therefore, I want an equation that has a binomial. So basically, we have two brackets that are same. In terms of the constant and the sign. So in this case, you're gonna have x squared here plus 6x plus 2. We have 9 here. Remember, what you do on the left hand side, you must also do on the right hand side. So I'm gonna add 9 and get. So you can see we have a y here. So we're gonna have x squared plus 6x plus 2 plus 9 minus 9. We basically not changing anything. In mathematics, we don't change anything. We just balance everything. So what you do on the left hand side, you must also do on the right hand side. So this negative 9, I said that 9 minus 9 is 0. So everything is normal. I have changed nothing. So remember, what you do on the left hand side, you must also do on the right hand side. So this 9, it cannot go to this side because there is no 0 in here. It is y. You're gonna get it wrong, perhaps. So hence I said 9 minus 9 to balance the equation. This is how we do, guys. This is how we do it, guys. This is how you complete the square. So now let's go to the second step. We now simplifying. We now collecting like terms and everything like that. So let's focus on x squared plus 6x and 9. So let's focus on x squared plus 6x plus 9. Let's open two brackets. Let's simplify this quadratic equation, x squared plus 6x plus 9, and leave all these 2 and negative 9 for now. So when we have x squared plus 6x plus 9, I'm just putting it in a simplified way so they can see what I'm doing right here, guys. Then let me just focus on this 3 only. Let me just open two brackets, or you can just apply the basics, or you can use the quadratic equation to simplify or to find factors of this function. But for now, let's just open two brackets very fast. X factors of x squared is x and x. Then which numbers can I multiply to give me 9 and 8 to give me 6? Which two numbers? 3 and 3. I add them, they give me 6. I multiply them, they give me 9. 3 and 3. Signs plus plus, obviously plus and plus. 2 minus 9 is minus 7. Now we have a binomial rate here in it. So these two brackets are the same. So I can write them in this form. Plus 3 squared. It means there are two brackets of 3x plus 3. There are two brackets of x plus 3. So I can put them in this form. Or I can write this term in this form. Then I'm done. Now what is the turning point? Remember, this is the value of p, this is the value of q. Our turning point is going to come from this value and this one. Our turning point, therefore our turning point, it is remember, this positive 3 when it comes out of the bracket is going to be negative 3 and negative 7. You are done. This is how you find, or this is how you complete the square when finding a turning point of this function. Now let's come to perhaps let me just draw the graph of this function. Y equal x plus 3 squared minus 7. Now let's find the coordinates of y-intercept and x-intercept here. Y-intercept, let x be 0. Y equal to 0 plus 3 squared. X is minus 7. 0 plus 3 squared is 9. 9 minus 7 is equals to 2. Then the coordinate of y-intercept is 0 and 2. Then the coordinate of x-intercept is let y be 0. Now the coordinates are 0 equal x plus 3 squared minus 7. Transpose the 7 to this side, is going to be positive 7. X plus 3 squared. Then you want to remove the squared. We introduce the square root on both sides. Square root of 7. Then x plus 3. Then the square root of 7. Then we transpose this 3 to the side. X is equal to square root of 7 minus 3. Then the coordinates of x are, coordinates of x and y are, let's just write the square root of 7 minus square root of 7 minus 3 in decimal form, so that you can plot it correctly on the graph. So coordinates are negative 0,35 and 0. Yes. Then these are y-intercept. These are coordinates of y-intercept and x-intercept, and it. We have the turning point negative 3 and negative 7. Negative 3 and negative 7. Now let's draw the graph of this function. I'm not good at sketching, but I'll just try, guys. Yes. I'll just try to bring about some understanding in it. Yeah, let's just draw. So let's plot negative 3, negative 7, negative 3 is on the side. Perhaps negative 7 is here. Yes, this is our turning point. Then we have 0 and 2. Y-intercept 0 and 2. Then we have our x-intercept negative 0,35 and 0. Perhaps the point is going to be here. Perhaps, guys. Yes. Not according to the scale. So you already know what your A here is positive 1. That means your graph is concave up. Yes. And you already know your graph is going to turn here. You already know that. It means you should also know what possibility your graph is going to be like this one, like this, and it is how when you draw it. So let me just join the points. You can see, guys, what the shape of the graph, how it's gonna be in it. Yes, I think I've tried to draw the graph. Yes, I think you can see good how our graph is going to be shaped like in it. Yes, guys, I'm not good at drawing, but I'm nyazama nje yabo. Yes, then yeah, let me just join it, guys. Sorry. Yes, can you see it, guys? Then let's just name our points game. -3 and -7, negative 0.35, sorry, and 0, 0 and 2. This is our graph here, guys, and this is our parabolic function. That's how we draw it. Or we can have box of x and y coordinates, and for everything to be simple, ne? You can have this box. This is the basic, guys. Yes, you can draw this box on yourself and give yourself x values. Can give yourself from -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. You give yourself x values, then you substitute them where you see x to give you y. -1 x to give you y coordinate. 0, you put it on x to give you y, up until you get to 2, then plot on the graph. Then it's gonna give you this kind of shape, ne? This one is so simple, but start here, guys, ne? Understand how you solve or how you find coordinates of turning point. How do you find the y-intercept? How do you find x-intercept? Now let's come to domain and range. Now domain and range. So guys, domain are all x values that are visible or that are valid, or x values that are real. Yeah, all x values that are on the graph, ne? So how do you check those x values? Let's just check on our x-axis line, ne? This graph is going to move in this direction up until infinity. Basically, on our x-axis, our graph is going to move up until infinity. Basically, it's gonna our graph is gonna extend up until infinity, ne? Basically, when this line grows to this side, meaning it can go this direction, it basically gonna accommodate all x values up until infinity. Even on this side, if the graph goes like in this direction, it's going to accommodate all x values up until infinity. That means domain is all x values that are real. X is the element of real numbers such that we can put in from -infinity to +infinity, but you're not obliged to put this interval. You're not obliged. You can just leave it like this. X is the element of real numbers, then you are done, ne? So such that all negative numbers are included and all positive numbers are also included. Hence I put in the usual brackets, ne? Then let's come to range. Range, obviously all y values that are real, but here you're obliged to put something at some point, ne? Let's just check our y-axis, guys, ne? Our y-axis, ne? Let's just check this coordinate. So range is so simple because you just check your turning point. What is the turning point of this function? What's the coordinate of turning point? It's -3 and 7. Let's just check the y coordinate, -7, ne? Yes, we just check that y coordinate -7 and check it. If this graph, where does this graph start, or which coordinate does exist of y intercept? We have -7 and -7 is our y coordinate. basically this graph, it comes from this line and tends at -7 up until positive infinity. And it basically our graph, it is equal to -7, and it grows from -7 up until infinity. Basically, at this point, our graph tends, it does not go down, it tends and goes up, meaning -8, -9, -10, those numbers does not exist. Yeah. -7, it only exists -7, -6, -5, -4 up until positive infinity, meaning our range starts from -7 up until positive infinity. That's where our y values exist. They exist from -7 up until positive infinity. Why? Because our graph tends at -7, and this is where coordinate of -7. That's where our graph tends, and -8, -9, -10, -100, -1000 does not exist. Our y values are real when they start from -7 up until positive infinity. You understand, guys? Then y is the limit of real number such that -7 is included. Square bracket means that we include -7 to positive infinity. Excluded. Yeah, meaning we include -7 and exclude other numbers and include all positive infinity or positive numbers, meaning from -7 to positive infinity. We exclude other numbers such like -8, -9, -10, -11 up until negative infinity, and only include -7 to positive infinity. Do you understand, guys, what I'm saying? Alternatively, you can use a timeline or an interval whereby y is bigger than or equal to -7, smaller than positive infinity. Y is bigger than or equal to -7, smaller than positive infinity, meaning y, or our range is between -7 and positive infinity. Nearby, guys, there's an alternative route you can use, or other way you can use is y is bigger than or equal to -7. Do you understand, guys? Yeah, that's how we can write the range of this function. Then let's come to the last point where you determine the x-intercept. Perhaps we're given y equal a x minus a, let me just say x minus m, for argument's sake, m x minus n. So how do you determine the intercept when I given this function? When I given a function in this form, we have this point and this point, and it. Let me just write a function. F at x is equals to 2 x minus 1 x plus 3. Then, guys, basically in this function, they will say that determine the coordinates of your x intercepts here, where you let y be 0. Without any calculation, you can just write them by saying, okay, this point or this coordinate and this coordinate, they represent your x coordinate of your intercept, and it basically the coordinates of x-intercept when let y be is going to be +1 and 0 union -3 and 0. Basically, when I say union, it means that they are combined, the two. Meaning, when you draw the graph of this function, it's going to be like this, and then it's going to be like this, guys. Then the coordinates of our turning point are going to be here. The coordinates of our x-intercept are going to be at these points 1 and 3. That's why you draw the graph of this function. Yes, guys. So don't be confused when you're given the function in this form. In this form, it means that you can just point out your x-intercept coordinates when you're just given a function in this form. So you must not get frightened when you're given a quadratic function in this form. This coordinate stands for your x-intercept. When you let y be 0, you can just change the sign of these points or coordinates from -1 to 1, from +3 to -3. Then you just plot them on your graph and find your y-intercept by letting x be 0. Then you'll be able to draw your graph of this function. Yes, guys. Then I think let's solve some questions. So I took this question from a particular question paper of previous years, perhaps 2017 mathematics May June examination, paper 1. Yes, grade 11. I think it's grade 12. I'm not sure about that, but I think it's this work in it's of grade 10, 11, 12. So yeah. Now let's just simplify this question. Given that f at x equal to -2x² minus 5x plus 3. Now the first question says that rewrite f at x in the form of y equal a x minus p plus q. So let's just solve the first question, then we'll come to the second one up until the last question. So let's solve the first one. The first question says that rewrite f at x in the form of y equal a bracket x minus p close bracket squared plus q. So now we write this equation in that form of y equal a x minus p squared plus q. This is the form that you must write. They said you must write this equation in this form. Simple, guys. So I've taught you the trinomial rule. Yes, that one. You just draw the cross here. Then you find the factors of our first term and factors of our last term, or numbers that I can add to give me the last term. We did that, and everything was good. So now, guys, before we can come here, let's write our equation in a proper form. Yes, let's just write it here. Let me just centralize my equation here and check my first term. Is my first term, or is the coefficient of x squared equal to 1? No. The coefficient of x squared is equal to -2. Always, by all means necessary, make sure that the coefficient of x squared is equal to +1. If that's not the case, then just take out that coefficient of x squared outside as a common factor. Yes. Let's take -2 also as our common factor for these two terms and leave out 3 outside the bracket. Yes, -2 outside. Then we'll say that -2x squared divided by our common factor. -2 divided by -2 is 1. Then we're left with x squared. -5x divided by -2 is equal to +5/2x close bracket plus 3. We leave out that constant and focus on these two terms when you take out the common factor. In this case only, when you complete the square. In this case only, guys, not in every equation or in any question, but when you complete the square only, you need to make sure that the coefficient of x squared is equal to +1, and this 3 or our concept is left outside the bracket, and there's a reason for that. We shall come to that part. So guys, let's come to this method of trinomial. What are factors of x squared? X and x. Which number can I add, or which two numbers can I add to give me 5/2? Which two numbers? Which numbers, when I add them, they will give me 5/2? Which two numbers, guys? So you need to know that factor before you can do anything. So you know, go to 5/4 plus 5/4 equals to, when you add 5/4 plus 5/4, it's going to give you 5/2. 5/4 plus 5/4 equals to 5/2. Simple. That's how we do it, guys. Then now we multiply the very same two terms. You're gonna say 5 over 4 times 5 over 4 is going to give us 25 over 16. Then you are done with the trinomial method. Ne? Yes, guys. Now, there is an alternative method you can use to find these two terms. Ne? There's an alternative method you can use. There's a formula that they use is b over 2 squared. Ne? B equals to the second term, b, and here there's according to quadratic equation, there's a, b, and c. So the value of b is our second term, and we come here, this is our second term here. So we're gonna say 5 over 2 over 2 all squared equals to 5 over 2 divided by 2 is going to be 5 over 4, then 5 over 4 squared is gonna give us 25 over 16. So they're the same. You can just choose which one is suitable, or which method do you understand better. Yes, guys. Then let's come here. So therefore negative 2 bracket of x squared plus 5 over 2 x and yet plus 25 over 16 minus 25 over 16. I'll just explain why do I minus. Close bracket plus 3. In this case, we want to balance, guys. I mean, you don't want to abandon the essence of this equation or this question. That's why I balance, because 25 over 16 minus 25 over 16 equals to 0. We are back here. Hence, we balance the two. The purpose of this thing is to balance. Is to balance this equation, all of it, so it cannot lose its essence. Hence, when you subtract these two terms, it offers 0. That's the aim, and that's the aim of this question. Hence, we say 25 over 16 minus 25 over 16 equals to 0. They're the same. Then equal to. Now, this one is so simple. So in this case, we are going to utilize this negative 2 and multiply it with this term. I hope you, or before that, let's focus on our quadratic equation, this equation only. So you're gonna have a negative 2 bracket of 2 brackets. So we are now solving a quadratic equation, this equation. Factors of x squared is x and x. Now, which numbers, when I multiply them, they're gonna give me 25 over 16. When I multiply them, it's 5 over 4. Yes, it's 5 over 2, 5 over 4. Then when I add or subtract those two numbers, they give me 5 over 2. We already did it, guys. We already did it, or already explored that avenue of saying that which numbers can I add to give me 5 over 2, and when I multiply them, they give me 25 over 16. So we have added 5 over 4 plus 5 over 4, they give us 5 over 2. Then when I multiply them, they give me 25 over 16, which means 5 over 4, it qualifies to be put in here. 5 over 4, 5 over 4. Signs positive, positive, obviously, positive, positive. You can use quadratic equation, it's not a problem. You can use quadratic formula to find factors, but it's gonna give you a problem at some point. But use it for now, guys. It's still the other avenue you can explore of using quadratic equation. Then we still have minus here, minus 25 over 16. Now, guys, we're gonna utilize this negative 2 and multiply it with this term. We use this negative 2 to multiply this term because it was inside the bracket here. So use this negative 2 to multiply negative 25 over 16 multiplied by negative 2 plus 3. Do you understand, guys? So after you have opened brackets, or before even that, just use this 2 to multiply that negative value you've gotten. Leave out this 3 or first 3 terms that forms a quadratic equation. Leave out them. Just focus on this term only and multiply with this coefficient or with our common factor here and add 3. This term that is outside, or this constant is outside. Yes. Then negative 2. The two brackets are the same. There is x plus 5/4. That means I can just reduce it to a single term. X plus 5/4 squared, meaning that there are two brackets of x plus 5/4. Hence we have squared here. This thing is the same as these two. We have two brackets of x plus 5/4. Hence we have squared here. This squared, it means that we have two brackets of x plus 5/4. Then you consult the calculator. So that you can multiply these two terms. Two terms of you first say negative 25 over 16 multiplied by negative 2 first. But must remember equal to, it gives me 25 over 8. Then you're gonna say 25 over 8 plus 3 is going to give you plus 49 over 8. Then you are done, guys. Therefore, you are done with administration of this question now. Therefore, this equation is in this form, because there's p, here's our p, 5/4, there's 2, here's 49 over 8, there's a, this is our negative 2, there's squared here, there's squared here. So means this equation is the same as this one. Then you are done with question A. So how will they mark you in the examination? Obviously, they're going to mark what you have take out the negative 2 outside. They're going to mark that you did the trinomial method. They're going to mark that you multiplied negative 2 with this term. They will mark you that you have taken out the factors. They will mark you that you've gotten the correct answer, or you've gotten, yes, the final answer, which is correct. So we're going to gain 1, 2, 4, and 5. Yes, that's how I'm going to mark you in the examination. So let's go to question 2, guys. Question 2 is so simple. Let's just read it right now. Question 2 says that hence write the coordinates of the turning point. Hence, guys, the moment they say that hence, it means that you must use the answer you've gotten from the previous question and use that answer you got and give us the answer for the second question, or the current question. Meaning for B, hence, it means that you must use what you got here and answer with it. Give us the answer with the use of the answer you got in the previous question. That's the meaning of hence in this case. Write the coordinates of the turning point. Simple, ne? Let's just write them. They said that you must write and get. They didn't say you must calculate, just write in G. Simple, 5 seconds. Guys, coordinates of the turning point of quadratic equation or quadratic function in this case with the use of this answer. They come from the value of p and the value of q. Simple, ne? And when the value of p comes out of the bracket, it changes the sign from positive to negative. If it was negative, then it's gonna change to positive. Right in this case, and right now at the moment, the sign of p is positive. That means when it comes out of the bracket, it's gonna be negative 5/4. Ne? Yes, turning point coordinate negative 5/4 and 49/8. P and Q, negative 5/4, and the sign stays the same for Q, 49/8. Then we're done with P. C, it says that write the coordinates of the y-intercept of F. Write the coordinates of the y-intercept of F. Ne? Simple, ne, guys. When you talk about y-intercept, we let x be 0. Simple. Ne? So for the sake of those ones who don't know how to find y-intercept, we're gonna just do it for you guys. Ne? We're not going to write them, but instead we're gonna calculate them for those ones who don't understand the term y-intercept, or how do we find y-intercept. Ne? So for finding y-intercept, let us let y-intercept, let x be 0 from either this equation or this one. It's your choice in that case. So let's just let our y be 0. I mean our x be 0. So guys, to find the coordinates of y-intercept, y equal to negative 2, 0 plus 5/4 squared plus 49/8. Simple. So with the use of calculator, to make everything simple, let's just do it, guys. Negative 2 bracket of 0 plus 5 over 4 squared plus 49 over 8. Mina, it gives me 3. Mean the value of y equal to 3. Therefore, the coordinates of y-intercept ki x gonna ki 0, then y gonna ki 3. Then calculate, guys. Do you understand how do you find y-intercept? Then let's go to D very fast, guys. I know no one has got time, but let's just try to be clear and simple in terms of answering questions. Number D, it says that determine the coordinates of the x-intercept of f. We're now determining the coordinates of x-intercept of f. X-intercept of f. So for x-intercept, we let y be 0. So in this case, it's either use this equation or this one. Is your choice, guys. When you use this one, you'll be forced to use quadratic equation, and it's still not a problem to use quadratic equation. You can use it; it's not a problem. And there another method you can use to solve for x-intercept with the use of this equation. But now we have no time. Let's just use this one to simply just find the x coordinates, or just find the x-intercept, the coordinates of the x-intercept. So let y be 0 for this equation. This one. 0 equal to negative 2 x plus 5 over 4 squared plus 549 over 8. Then right now it's so simple. We deal with mathematics. This plus here, we change the sign. We want to transpose it to the other side. It's going to give us negative 48 over 9 equal to negative 2 x plus 5 over 4 squared. Then in this case, we have negative 2 multiplied by, this is a constant. Negative 2 is our constant. We divided both sides by 8. Basically, we're going to say negative 2 divided by negative 2 on both sides. Yes. Then, let's simplify this expression or this term. So, we're going to say negative 48 divided by 9 divided by negative 2. Simple. It's going to give us 8 over 3 equal to x plus 5 over 4 squared. The aim is to remove this squared there. We introduce square roots on both sides. If it was cubed here, you're going to say cube root on both sides. But now it's squared. You introduce squared both sides. If it was x plus 5 over 4 to power 4 here, you're going to say the first root of 4. The first root of this. If it was 10, we're going to say the 10th root on both sides. Simple, guys. So the square root is going to remove this 2 on this side. We're going to be left with x plus 5 over 4. Then there's plus and minus here for the square root at all times. Yes. Now the square root of 8 over 3 is going to give us, it's going to equal to plus or minus 8 over 3. You must remember that there's always plus or minus whenever there's a square root, guys. So we're going to have two equations of plus and minus. So this is how we're going to write it. We're going to say 8 over 3 square root plus equal to x plus 5 over 4, or minus the square root of 8 over 3 equal to x plus 5 over 4. Then we must be left with x on one side. We transpose this 5 over 4 to that side. It's gonna give us 8 over 3 minus 5 over 4. Minus 5 over 4. Then x is equals to 0.38 two decimal places here. Even on this side, you're gonna say negative of square root 8 over 3 minus 5 over 4. The answer is negative 2.88. Then you're done with x. Then now, they said you must determine the coordinates of x-intercept. Yes. Now the coordinate is gonna be 0, 38 and 0 union or and negative 2, 88 and 0. These are two coordinates of x-intercept. Then now let us go to the next question. Guys, the next question is of E. And just determine the equation of axis of symmetry. I have to do about axis of symmetry during the first session of quadratic. The axis of symmetry, it is the half, or it is a line that touches or that cuts the graph into two pieces or into two equal pieces. So determine the equation of the axis of symmetry for D. Yes, I mean for E. For E, our E, you must determine the equation of axis of symmetry. Simple. This is the equation used to determine the axis of symmetry. Negative B over 2A. Simple. Then this basically must determine the x coordinate of that function with the use of this equation of axis of symmetry. Now, from this equation, we need to determine the axis of symmetry with the use of only this equation of quadratic. You can determine the axis of symmetry with the use of that equation that is in this form. Not that I know of, but it's like that. It's so simple to determine the axis of symmetry, but let's just simplify it. Let's use this simple. Let us use this equation for argument's sake. And it simply. So what's the value of B? Is negative 5 here. We're gonna put negative 5 here, then negative 2 to A. Simple. So equal to, what's the value of B? Negative 5. Negative of negative 5 over 2 times the value of A is negative 2. Then the answer for this question is going to be 5 over 4. It's going to be 5 because it's negative of negative 5, meaning minus bracket of negative 5. It's equal to 5 divided by negative 4. It's going to give us negative 5 over 4. This is the equation of axis of symmetry. Now, guys, if we're given this equation, I mean, in this form, then you just take out the value of P. That is your axis of symmetry. That is the x coordinate, or that's the equation of axis of symmetry. So if we are just given this equation in this form only, then we just point out that value of negative P. And get to we had that question. Let's come back here. So guys, so this negative 5 over 4, it is our axis of symmetry. This is our equation of axis of symmetry. But if I was just simplifying in this way, because if we were given this question like in this form, then you are going to use this form. Just like right now, meaning we've got alternative forms or alternative method we can use to solve for axis of symmetry. If you are given in this form, you use this equation. If you are given this equation in this form, then you want to point out your value of P and write it as x equal to negative 5 over 4. That's the value or the equation of axis of symmetry for this question. I hope guys you understand what I'm trying to say to you guys. Now let's go to F. F, it says that hence. The moment they say that hence, it means you must use the answer that you've gotten in the previous questions now to find or to calculate the maximum value. Hence, calculate the maximum value. What's the maximum value of this function or this of this graph? So when the moment they say that you must determine the maximum value of any question or the question of quadratic, it means that you must come back to that equation you got this one. You must come back to our turning point. Basically, you must check your turning. What is the value of turning point? Meaning, for x, you must find axis of symmetry. For y, this is the maximum value. 49 over 8 for this equation. or for this equation. This is our axis of symmetry equation. This is our maximum value, because at this point our graph starts to increase. This is our maximum value. Hence they say determine the maximum value, or the value that our graph is increasing from, or thank you. Yes, this is our maximum value, guys. But let me just give you an equation. Perhaps if you are given the equation in this way, then I'm gonna show you how do you solve it in this way, not this way. It's still okay if you can just point it out, it's still fine. But now, if the case was, if we were given the equation in this way, then let me just show you how do you solve it. Yes. Then for f, here is the equation you use. There is an equation for maximum value you use is equals to c minus b squared over 4a. Then you are done. Then you substitute where you see c, you put in, you come back here. And you it's about negative 2 a, then you b c on. Then the value of c is 3. You're gonna say 3 minus, what's the value of b? The value of b is negative 5. Bracket of negative 5 squared over 4 multiplied by, what is the value of a? The value of a is negative 2. Then you put everything inside the calculator to find the maximum value of that function. Let's just put it in the calculator, everything. 3 minus the bigger bracket fraction, bracket of negative 5 squared. Then our denominator is going to be 4 times negative 2 inside the bracket, close bracket. The answer now is equal to 49 over 8. Then this is our maximum value of this function. It's the same one that you got in that question, okay, guys. Yeah, then let's go to the next question. I hope you understand, guys. Yes, let's just go to the next question. And number G, it says that you must write down the coordinates of the turning point. Simple, ne? Write down the coordinates of the turning point. Number G, the coordinates of turning point. Obviously, guys, just give them to me. Negative 5 over 4 and 49 over 8. You are done. Then number H. So guys, for H, the question says that sketch the graph of y equal f at x. Simple, ne? You must sketch the graph of y equal to f at x. Let me just write that function of y equal what is the equation of that function? Is negative 2x plus 5 over 4 squared plus 49 over 8. Okay, use that quadratic is not a problem. In any equation between the two that I say, man, get. So for you to draw the graph, you need to know the x-intercept. What are x-intercept? 0,38 and 0 union. It means that I say, man, negative 2,88 and 0. Then y-intercept, what are coordinates of y-intercept? 0 and 3. Then our turning point, negative 5 over 4 and 49 over 8. Guys, you got this value, so don't be surprised. Why do I take them? We previously calculated the x-intercept, y-intercept, and our turning point, so don't be confused or be perplexed. Thank you. So let's just draw the graph. So guys, I'm not good at drawing, but I'll just try to draw the graph of this function. I'm not good at drawing, but I'll just try how do we draw the graph. Let's plot the points. So I'll come out at 8. It's here, perhaps here. Then negative 2,88. Perhaps it is here. Then 0 and 3 is our intercept here. Then negative 5 over 4 is smaller than negative 2. That means it can be perhaps here. Then our 6, something, or our 49,8 is here. Let's just join those points. Let's join those 2 points. I'm not good at drawing graphs, but in Yazama, guys. Please bear with me. This is the graph, okay guys, do you understand? Now let's just label our points. You know, good, here we have 0 and 3. Here we have a negative 2, 8, 8 and 0. Here we have 0, 38 and 0. Here we have our turning point. This is our graph. This is where our graph turns here. Negative 5 over 4 and 49 over 8. Then you are done, guys, with the graph of this function. You can use the box of x and y values. It's not a problem because still you're gonna get it correct. Yes, and give yourself x values. Then you find y values by substituting. Where you see x, you put in negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and so on. It's not a problem, guys. Let's go to I. Write down the domain and range of this function. Domain and range. I, domain of this function is so simple. I get the x is the element of real numbers such that domain of this function, check on the y-axis. How are x values behaving? Because this graph is going to move. This graph can move this side or can move this side up until infinity. There's nothing that is gonna change, or there's nothing that is gonna block the x values from moving, or this graph from moving to this side up until infinity. Meaning this graph is going to move this side up until infinity, meaning it's gonna extend perhaps like this here, perhaps like this, and up until negative infinity, or it's gonna move from this side again. It moves up until positive infinity. So now you can just end your domain here. For all parabola and straight line graphs, the domain are the same. X is the element of a number, then you are done. You can just add the spice, it's not a problem. Negative infinity to positive infinity, then you are done. You can just end here or add the spice of negative infinity to positive infinity. Then our range learner is a simple. Y is the element of real numbers. You're not done for range for this in this case. So for range, you check your turning point. Where does our graph end? What is the maximum value of this graph? This is our maximum value. That means our graph, it ends here. It increases or it decreases at this point. This is the maximum point. And which coordinate do we check for range? Y coordinate of the turning point. And that is our maximum value of this graph. Remember, you got the value of maximum value. You've got the answer, or the value of the maximum value for this graph. And it was, or it is 48,9. I mean 49,8. 49 over 8. Sorry, guys. Now the range of this function you check from this value of the turning point. Okay, what is the value of turning point? What is the coordinate of the turning point? Y coordinate of the turning point is 49 over 8. And this graph, it turns here. There's no other values that is maximum or that is bigger than 49 over 8. So now our graph turns at this point, meaning our range, it ends at this point, meaning this point is our maximum point. Now basically you're gonna say y for domain of this function, you need to say that y, it is y, guys. Y, this value is our maximum, and this graph at this point it decreases, and here it comes from this point, it increases. Then when it reaches 49 over 8, it decreases, it goes down, meaning the y coordinate, the y axis is going down, meaning the y values are going down, because this graph is gonna move from 49 over 8 to 0. Then it moves to it's gonna move to 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 7, negative 2. It means the range, our range is decreasing. That means we're gonna say y, it is smaller than or equal to 49 over 8. Then you are done. Or you can say that y is between y is bigger than or equal to negative infinity, smaller than, or I mean not equal to negative. Sorry guys, sorry for this one. Y, it is bigger than negative infinity, smaller than or equal to 49 over 8, then you are done. Sorry for this thing is wrong. Y is bigger than negative infinity, smaller than or equal to 49 over. Why do I say equal to? Because at this point, this is where our graph tends. This is where our turning point, or this is our range. This is the y coordinate of this, or this is where you find the range of this function. And at this point, our range is equal to 49 over 8, and it is decreasing. Obviously, it means our y, it is smaller than or equal to 49 over 8, because the values you'll find after 49 over 8 are smaller than 49 over 8. Hence, we say y it is smaller than or equal to 49 over 8. I think you understand, guys, for now. Yes, sorry for some mistakes that I'm doing right now. Yes, sorry. Let's go to G. Determine the equation of K, the reflection of F in the y-axis. The reflection of, meaning this is you must determine the new equation, and you're gonna call it K. The reflection of F in the y-axis. The reflection of F in the y-axis. It's so simple, guys. So guys, let me just write some reflection rules. For if they say that the function is reflected in the x-axis, if you have x and y, that means your y should be negative, meaning you must possess your y with a negative sign. Then if your y-axis, if it reflects about y-axis, it means you must reflect your x as negative x and y. Meaning if they say x-axis must change from x to and y to x and negative y. If they say the graph has reflected about y-axis, it means you must change from positive x to positive y to negative x negative y. Now they say it must reflect about y-axis. That means y-axis, meaning all x values should be negative for this function. Yes, basically. Let's come back here. Negative 2x squared minus 5x plus 3. In this case, let's write the whole equation. Y equal negative 2x squared minus 5x plus 3. You must reflect about y-axis. That means all x will be negative here. That means y negative x, meaning where I see x, I need to put in negative x here. Let's just do that. Negative 2 negative x, negative 5 negative x plus 3. Then you simplify basically. I forgot x squared here. Then negative x squared is positive x squared. It means this one is still the same, x squared. Then negative by negative is positive 5x. Then plus 3. The new equation is k. Then you are done. If the question specified that you must reflect about x-axis, it means you must put in negative on the side and divide it by and divide this negative 1 on each term on the right hand side to get positive y. Obviously, that's our aim. Obviously, get the answer to be positive. Then let's go to the perhaps last question. Determine the equation of W. Now we are writing another equation, a new equation of W, the reflection of F in the x-axis. Right now you're coming to the x-axis. So let's write this equation, or let's reflect this equation in the form of W. Obviously, when it reflects about x-axis, it means our y should be negative. Simple. Negative y equal negative 2x squared minus 5x plus 3. Then we're gonna divide both sides by this negative here. That's our aim. Divide both sides by negative 1. Then the new equation is W equal to negative divided by negative is positive 2x squared. Negative divided by negative is positive 5x. Then positive by negative is equal to negative 3. Then you are done, guys. Done. I think we are done for now in terms of simplifying some equations of parabola, guys. So we are done. If you need any clarification or question or clarity seeking question, just hit up my comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Until next time, guys, you must present me with questions so that I can simplify them. Any question from any topic of grade 10 to grade 12, whatever, grade 8, just present me with questions and I will just try to simplify them for all of you guys. So yeah. Yes, guys, sorry for the camera. Perhaps next time we'll have a better equipment for this kind of service. So just be with me. Just wait for a few more weeks, then I'll prepare a quality camera and everything, or each and every equipment that is needed for this kind of functioning. Yes. So next time, don't worry guys, we'll be okay, all of us. This is just a start, so we need to always develop ourselves each and every day. So yeah, just go through those questions and simplify them. If you don't need, or if you need clarification or directly question, just come back to me on the comment section or on my email 22003119 CUT@gmail.com, or my number on WhatsApp 082-866-758, and you'll just receive my service at free cost. Yeah. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day, matriculants, grade 11s, grade 10s, and all the rest of the classes. Enjoy your mathematics sessions. Next time we'll be busy with physical sciences. You must provide questions so that I can articulate more on the specified question or the specified topic of the question of you will be giving me, guys. So have a nice day. Thank you very much. So guys, this is the question paper I used for this session, so you can just jot it down and answer those questions for yourself, so they can mark after you have written answers to see how far are you in terms of knowledge or understanding of parabolic function. Thank you very much.